God Shattering Star is one of the most epic pieces of music in a video game ever, hands down. And if you know me at all, you know that video game music is one of my biggest and nerdiest passions. Having it be the final boss battle theme for Claude's route in Fire Emblem Three Houses makes it even more special to me. I had the amazing opportunity to cover the song with FamilyJules in 2020, and it was one of the most fun musical collaborations I've ever done in my life. So, when Jules came to me a few weeks ago and said he wanted to do a version 2 that was more of like a studio session style recording, I immediately said yes. But his question was, what do you want to do differently this time around? How can we make this happen again, but put a new spin on it that was kind of fresh and fun and different? I remember hearing through the grapevine, like way back when at some point, that the official, and I use that word loosely, translation to the lyrics had been released. Mind you, we still have like no idea, to my knowledge, what the original language of this song was, but thanks to the power of the internet, someone found a Japanese translation or release of those lyrics in a booklet that came with one of the soundtracks. Now, it's hard for me to kind of like establish a trail of information, but I will link some of the sources in the description below. But it looks like we went through like several rounds of Japanese speakers trying to like massage those lyrics into something that made sense in English and still kept the meaning. Great, I thought. I can take those and I'll sing them. We'll do an English version of God Shattering Star. The lyrics were really cool, so it was gonna work great. Unfortunately, they in no way, shape, or form fit the music. The rhyme scheme wasn't there, the meter wasn't there, and even like the stanzas, when translated, didn't fit the little chapters of the piece in a way that it made sense to sing. A stanza would be like 4 lines in English, but only 2 lines in the original song. It didn't make sense. Trying to sing them the way they were written just sounded absolutely terrible. Okay, I thought, back to the drawing board. I'm a writer, I'm a musician, I will study these lyrics, find their essential meaning, keep what I can, and then adapt them in a way that fits the music so that the English-speaking musical ear would understand them and register it as, oh, this makes sense. That was one of the most unexpectedly rewarding things I ever did. Okay, there are so many people who are gonna look at what I'm about to say right now and go, duh! But there's a huge part of the fan base, myself included, who thought that this song was from Claude's perspective, or at least maybe about Claude's journey, or about Claude. Okay, look, I'm sorry, Golden Deer has a little bit of an ego problem, so sue us. But I didn't realize just how deep those lyrics went, and I absolutely got goosebumps when I realized this isn't Claude, it's Nemesis. And they wanted the same thing. The comparison between the two characters and their wants and desires is pretty cool. Claude goes to kill a god, Nemesis goes to kill a god. They're even the same god. They talk about wanting to take back their pride, take back their self-determination. All good so far. Boy, Nemesis sounds like a pretty good guy. But there's a twist. As I went to adapt the lyrics, I started to see a pattern as we got towards the end of the song that really splits Claude and Nemesis apart. Nemesis goes to slay a god, but he also goes to become one. He starts asking people to praise him, to raise high their hands and voices, and he talks about himself as the face of their liberation. He calls himself the embodiment of wrath, something very like Old Testament, and not at all Claude's vibe. He's here to dethrone Rhea, but the throne will still be warm when he sits on it. Whereas, well, you know what happens with Claude. With all this in mind, I set to work trying to make sure that I kept the story arc in mind. Nemesis is tired of being controlled by a god and goes to kill it, but keeping that almost sinister undertone in there of absolute power corrupting absolutely. As we get closer to the end of the song, I changed Nemesis' calls for his followers to worship him into warning his usurper, Rhea, that if you're looking for a real god, guess what? He's coming, and he's coming for you. I loved the archaic language usage from the internet's translation, and it was a really fun challenge to take all this and fit it into the right meter for the song. I had some help from my friend Annie Rosen, an opera singer and fellow nerd, keeping it grounded and working out some of the more difficult passages, like trying to figure out why this dude's singing about a mountain range in Fodlan, which is in the original, but it's something I ultimately cut from my version because I couldn't make it work with the story. And I replaced it with rivers of dragon's blood because, well, it was cooler, right? It was my arrangement. I had poetic license. I so appreciate all the heartfelt and supportive comments from everyone on the music video. This song means so much to me as a video game music enthusiast, a mythologist, and as Claude's voice actor. And it was such a thrill for me to bring it to life again in a unique, new way. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Fear the deer. See ya.
A riddle for ye. I am brimming with youth, but I'm not quite alive. I house 100 million souls, but only one can survive. Who am I?